What's up, family? What's up? It's your boy Frankie. Welcome back to the Root Cause Podcast, where we talk everything relationship and we have the hard conversations. Once again, we back with some more fire, another exciting show. We have a very special guest. I say that every show, but this guest here is unique in what they've done and what they've accomplished. This is a brother that I'll get into that later. But look, let's do our community work first. Before I introduce our guests and have great conversation. So you know where we're going with this. Let's start with POP, Pivotal Operation Practices. Pivotal Operation Practices is a VA service, a virtual assistant service that allows you to be the face of your business. They allow for you to go out and find the money and live in your purpose while they handle all the admin work and system building in the background. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and they have a website, POP, Pivotal Operation Practices, Virtual Assistant Program, okay? You have Milestones, Elevation, and Community Development. I got an opportunity to work with this team last Wednesday to donate goods to a shelter that burnt down here in the DMV area. That shelter lost everything. They lost beds, clothes, food, everything. Well, that stuff was replenished, and I had the opportunity of working with that team. This nonprofit, they focus on the family, not just the men, not just the women or children, but the family. I always tell this story. When I was younger, I was over my aunt's house, and she was on Section 8. Well, back then you had to have an inspection. My uncle, who was there at the time, a living uncle, had to leave. He had to leave while this white woman came in and did an inspection. I felt some kind of way, and I'm sure my cousins and my aunt did, but that's how they grew up. Well, this nonprofit does not worry about that. They believe if the family is together, the community is together, the city is together, the country is together. Check them out, Milestones, Elevations, and Community Development. We have SOS. SOS stands for Substance Over Symbolism. Substance over symbolism. This is a group of couples that came together that want to show what they say. They say the relationship is the intersection to what it looks like versus the reality. So on TV and all over places, you see a relationship being just the highlights of it. You know, just it's good here or it's bad there, and the middle class is never really represented. But SOS is here to support healthy relationships within our community. Married relationships, intimate relationships, or just relationships with yourself, with money, food, whatever. Check out SOS. You can find them on Instagram or on Facebook. My first project is still out there, people. Go to calculatedwithlove.com. Calculatedwithlove.com. You can buy the book, okay? On this webpage, you will be able to see other videos for podcasts that we've had that talk about the book, and some of the people that you may know or may not know, but there's some goodies for you. I will also be in Philadelphia at the University of Pennsylvania as one of the keynote speakers, September the 14th, speaking about my book. Okay, check it out. You can check the website for those dates and times. Go get the book. Most importantly, you can order the book from off of the website. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Today we got a special guest. This brother, it's so much to say about him, and this is my first time meeting him, but I'm very excited to talk to him. He's lived a grand life, and he has some experience upon him. He played in the 1976 Olympics. He's ran for mayor in Kentucky. He's been a track coach, a motivator. He's a family man. I can't say I won't be able to do it justice. Let's introduce Mr. Tommy Haynes. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic, Frankie. How about yourself? And thanks for allowing me to be on your podcast.
Hey, it's a blessing to have. I am honored and I am blessed. After reading your profile, I am honored and blessed to have you on board today to promote everything, Mr. Tommy Z. Haynes, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's start at the beginning. Tell people who Tommy T. Haynes is.
Okay, what I tell people when they ask me who is Tommy Haynes, first of all, I do tell them I'm a child of God. Everything else is what I do. And that's what has gotten me where I am today because I did the triple jump in college. I never heard of the triple jump, but in life, I hopped to the Olympics, stepped in the military, and jumped right into politics. No experience necessary. And it's one of those that I know that nobody can do it on their own. So it's one of those I always sought out somebody to get to certain stages. I went to college not even on a scholarship and went on to become an Olympian. And wow. Some people said that when I was telling them I was going to this particular school, they said, that's stupid. I said, but I have a spiritual guidance that you don't see. And I said, something is pulling me toward this coach in this school, and we're going to see if it can work out. And as I said, the rest was history.
So you were living within your purpose, sir. It sounds like.
Yes.
Speaking of that, of going to, so speaking of college, I know how expensive college can be. Now, I just dropped my oldest son off at school. He's a freshman at Southern University, which is an HBCU in Louisiana. I served in the military, in the Navy. He also, he's a midshipman. So he went to Naval Officer School in Chicago, and I picked him up from the boot camp. We had an opportunity to drive through Illinois, down through Missouri, stop off in Memphis, Tennessee overnight. Got a chance to see the Martin Luther King Memorial and eat some barbecue before we got on the road to go to Louisiana. And he got a full ride. And that full ride was I had to pay a little bit, but his scholarship was a little over $200,000. And wow. you said you went on no scholarship, and you went to go run track and became an Olympian during those days. Yes. And so did you come from an affluent family, or with a couple of dollars, or what was that?
Actually, our family was a little above the poor side. And my father had already told me, because he knew I was telling everybody I was going to college. He said, I don't know who's going to pay for it, but we are. And so what I had to do, I had to get a work study. And work study is where you do a job and get paid for it, but your pay is going straight to the school. And my job was washing track clothes. And none of the athletes knew that I was the one washing track clothes, because I did everything that they did, go over and ate with them after the workout, but I doubled back. And it was a blessing in disguise because I was able to do my homework while the clothes were washing. These are huge washers and dryers. These are not the ones you have in your home. They're commercial. And I also got an extra workout in. And I think that was the tipping part, because my first indoor track meet that I went to, and I talk about it in my book, I had gotten strong and didn't know it. Mm-hmm. And I went to a meet, and the very first meet, and one of the jumps I took off, I got so high that I rotated. And you're not supposed to rotate in the long jump because they hadn't cleared the flip long jump yet. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I screamed at the top of my jump, and then ended up landing on my head. So when I screamed, all the attention came to the long jump, so everybody saw me and fall on my head. Mm-hmm. So, and that was my first experience, and I'm thinking, boy, the coach going to say, I'm wasting money even letting him be on a work study. Uh-huh. But the very second meet, he took me back, and we worked on the trampoline, because he said, you got to get used to being in the air and control your body because you're not used to it. The second meet came down the same way, exploded, but this time I was able to control myself. I landed. The coach came over hollering, they're doing all this, and he said, you don't know what you did, do you? I said, I know I didn't land on my head. He said, you just broke the freshman long jump record. You went 25 feet, 10 inches. Wow. And then I went crazy because I had only been 24 once and a whole bunch of 23s, and I was closing in on 26 feet.
Yeah.
And I was just a long jumper. So it's one of those, of course, by sophomore year, I did get that scholarship, but it was one of, I think, that experience and exposure, maybe not take things for granted.
Yes.
You got to, stay in his plan and stay prayed up, and good things will happen. And and a lot of my former athletes, they've read the book now, and they say, we never know you was the one washing the track clothes. So I told them, I said, yep, that was me.
You never know. So yes, you spoke about your book, and we're here to talk about your book. We're here to talk. Is this your first book? What the L? What the L is your book? What is the motivation behind you writing What the L? And what was your process in writing?
Okay, now, first of all, this started off like a memoir because it was really going to be written for my family because I couldn't read. I went to a family reunion and some family members didn't know I had been to the Olympics. They didn't know I had been into politics. They didn't know because what happened, I was in the military 20 years. So if one of my cousins was 5 years old, by the time I got out of the military, they're 25.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so they're not going to keep up with what I was doing. And I was in and out. So that was the motivation. It kept being in my mind. And people used to tell me and say, you ought to write about that because, you keep doing some unique things. And during that period, I got to travel through 32 countries. Of course, 16 of those was in Africa.
Okay.
And it was one of those that I had never been, outside of the United States. And for a while, I was going, waking up in China, in Brazil, just because in Russia, because, it was just because you wanted to get to that level, you want to compete against the best.
Yeah.
And at that time, the Russian guy had won like 3 or 4 gold medals in a row. And so he was definitely the target. And he did win the one in 76 also, but at least I could compete with him.
Right. And so this was before the military, though.
Yes. Well, the Olympics, I went into the military in 74.
Okay.
And I went to the Olympics in 76. So I had the college experience. And during the college experience, on my wall back there, my biggest thing was trying to be an All-American. Mm-hmm. And I didn't make All-American till my senior year. Then I made it 3 times. And one of those, I actually qualified for the NCAA in 3 different events, the 60-meter dash, long jump, and triple jump. And I had told you I was only a long jumper when I went to college. I just learned how to triple jump and learned what it was while I was there my sophomore year. And that's the one I went to the Olympics in. It wasn't the long jump. It was the triple jump. And we had a coach that knew what he was doing. And we had a guy on our team that was he made All-American, every freshman all through. So I did what he did. He's a little taller than I was, had long legs, but he didn't have the speed that I had. And he just didn't have he had better technique, but I had to work on my strength, my speed, my technique, and my flexibility. And before I knew it, I broke the school record in the triple jump after he left. That year that I made All-American 3 times, I broke the NCAA record, collegiate record. 1 year after that, I broke the American record, which was the best any American had ever done up until that point.
Wow. So
then people asking me, do I think I can make the Olympic team? I said, well, I feel better about it now because I just broke the American record. I should be in similar shape, the following year, even though Olympic year, in the United States, it's like the Olympics itself. You have people that you think is going to make the Olympic team that don't, and you have those that you didn't think they would make it, and they do.
Yeah.
So, and people come out of the woodwork. People that's been retired for a long time come out. So it was such a journey, that whole process. So, because people couldn't believe that Tommy Haynes, who got 5'9".
Yeah.
One day he's a triple jumper. All the triple jumpers over 6 feet.
6 feet.
They said, there's a guy in Middle Tennessee that does well. He got your same name.
Yeah. So my dad is about 5'8", 5'9", and he ran track too. Here in the District of Columbia, and he ran the quarter to 2 miles. He was more of a long distance kind of runner, and back then there was a national team named the DC Striders, and a guy named Maurice Peoples. He used to run with those. Oh wow! I can't wait to holler at my dad, man. Yeah. I told him that I will be talking to you, and so I grew up hearing these stories.
Right.
And seeing the trophies and things of that nature. He never took off after high school. He was offered a scholarship, but neither him nor the family was educated to know what to do next. And
Right.
so he went into the workforce, and then popped out me. So,
Right.
but wow, that's a so when you went into the military, because this was after college, were you an officer or enlisted?
I was officer. About the second year. At first, it was mandatory the first 2 years because Vietnam was going on, and when it became optional, I dropped out of it for a semester. But what I learned while I was in it, I said, now if I do the military, I could do 4 years. I have a for sure job when I graduate. Pay was going to be pretty good, and I was going to be an officer. And by that time, I had my first son while I was in.
Oh, are you still there? Hey, Mr. Tommy, something happened. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got you back. You left off when you were saying that, and we'll edit that part. You left off saying that you had your first son during that time.
Right. Yeah, I had my first son while I was in college. I fell in love with my college, my mate, and we got a little bit too close. And her belly rose, and him trying to run track, and we got married. Now I talked to her dad, and her dad was big at the NAACP, and he had been into politics. He was a teacher, had taught everybody in this little small town. So I had to do right. Yeah. But he's my namesake, and he also went in the military after he got older. But I used to hear people whispering, said, and also in '72 I suffered a ACL tear in my knee, my jumping knee. And to make a long story short, I had prayed hard that time and said, Lord, if you just help me get this knee in shape so that I can keep my scholarship and so I can finish school. And lo and behold, the Lord let me know, you don't know who you're talking to. I can do better than that.
There we go.
And that's when I broke the NCAA record coming up, and things kind of took off. And people that I was grouped with, because you can, in the long jump, a person can come out of nowhere and just hit one big one like Bob Beamon. They still have to have talent, but they can just hit a big one for them. And jumping in triple jump, you can see people coming because that's a very skilled event. They don't just pop up overnight. They got a lot of work to put in. So I'd heard people talking that, well, Tommy don't got married. He got a kid. He got a hurt leg. He's washed up. But they didn't know the God I served. So it's one of those that I said, only time would tell. And one of the things that the coach did for me before the Olympic trials, we traveled to the University of Florida. Okay. And he came, he supposed to get 3 jumps. He came and told me, he said, Tommy, this is your last jump. I thought the heat had gotten to him. I said, Coach, I hadn't jumped yet. He said, no, I scratched your other 2 jumps. You got 1 jump. He said, you're physically able to jump 5. I want to see if you're mentally ready. I said, okay, Coach. So I went back and had to take extra precautions, check the wind, because this is going to be it. I went down and took the 1 jump. It was a close to 55-foot jump. I won the meet with 1 jump. And when I put on my sweats and I was over just, stretching and watching other people, I heard people talking about it and said, one guy came out here and took off his sweat, took 1 jump and left. Well, I hadn't left. I was right there, but 5'9" guy, couldn't have been him, But so it was talking. So those kind of stories kind of helped, my momentum. It kind of helped my confidence. Just saying, I almost have something to prove because they're judging the book by the package. Saying, I'm not tall enough, not this or that. I said, no, you can't measure the heart. And I said, I had a big heart. But the reason I tell you that story is at the Olympic trials, you got 3 jumps. I fouled 1 jump, had a broken jump, and only had 1 jump left. Yeah. To make it in. And I pointed to the coach and said, I got this. Because everybody was looking because they said, well, if he fouls, because he's one of the better ones, I hit the mark and continued to go on to the finals the next day. So there's a lot of things that my coach passed this year. Okay. So and he had been coaching for 57 years, and we've stayed in touch with each other because his name was Coach Hayes, and I was Haynes. Okay. So, I used to always make fun of things and say, he and I got the same name, but now mine got an N in it. I said, we don't know why that is.
So I would like to say that you came up during a time where when you talk about the Olympics and you talk about the military as a young man, you got an opportunity to see like Muhammad Ali get almost hung by the courts and by society for not going into the military. His belts and all those things were taken from him, and you had the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's and the Jim Browns and all of those guys surround him and stand next to him. How did that play a part in your thinking as far as one being an athlete and then two saying, "Look, I'm gonna try the military after seeing this stuff and going through the motions," because you grew up in Tennessee, which we know is the South, below the Mason-Dixon. So it's not. I'm pretty sure when we talk about being here in the metropolitan area in Washington D.C., the air was a little different down there.
Right, and it's one of those that I gave it some thought, but it's one of those when you get put in a certain position, it becomes survival. We took on jobs to do that we didn't want. But that's all we could get. I was a janitor. I was a dishwasher, a busboy. But you really wouldn't want those kind of jobs, and they weren't paying any money. Even though that I was doing well in high school when I was coming up and working well, because it was strictly because of my color that I was not going to move up. And it became actually Muhammad Ali, by the time he did his, I watched it all on TV. And of course, by me having a family, you have to make your own decisions. And I was thinking at the time, I thought I'd go in for 4 years, make enough money to get on my feet, get the family squared away, and then find a job, which is what my parents did. Even they dropped out in the 12th grade, both of them, to start a family and start working. And I knew the things that I kind of wanted to do, but I thought I was going to go into teaching and coaching. But when I went in the military, I ended up being an instructor, which was kind of like teaching, but you're just doing it in a different environment. Right. I ended up being assigned at the United States Military Academy at West Point as a track coach. So that gave me experience. I'm still in the military and I'm coaching. It's not like I'm fighting anybody. I'm doing that. My last assignment, I worked at a huge distribution center. There was 347 civilians and 2 military people, and I was one of the 2. So I'm in an environment that's almost like civilian industry. So it's one of those, it was an easy transition for me to go from 20 years from the military into civilian life because I had the life experiences of some of the same job skills that they were looking for on the outside. So, and you mentioned Muhammad Ali was actually one of my heroes coming up, and I got a chance to meet him. In California, and I actually requested because I had won a meet that he sponsored 3 years in a row. And they gave you a TV. It was one of these little bitty TVs, but back then that was nice, better than a trophy.
Yeah.
And I told the guy, I said the TV is nice, but I would like to meet Muhammad Ali. I've been here 3 years, and I saw him go over and talk to him. And I'm sitting there, and he talked to me just like you and I are talking. He said, "Tell you the truth, young blood." He said, "I'd rather not be here." He said, "I'm tired." I said, "I understand because you staying through the whole meeting. When I do finish my event, I'm back to the hotel."
There you go.
And the other ones that Wilma Rudolph, we had lunch together at the Olympics. She came, she competed at Tennessee State, and I'm from Nashville originally.
Okay.
So I knew her and Ralph Boston, pretty well when they were competing. I was just a young high school person looking at these great athletes, and the last one was Jesse Owens. When I met him, I just about fell over.
Wow.
Because I read about him. And he was at the meet that I jumped up in the Madison Square Garden, and I won both the long and triple jump. And it hadn't been done in like 25 years that a person win those two, back to back. And I got a chance to talk to him, and he kind of gave me some good. He said, "You kind of remind me of myself." He said, "You're putting it all out there." I said, "If I could just make it halfway the way you made it," because he came up through real tough times.
Yeah.
When you were about 1936. So that history, I was able to see that come to life. And then I realized that, as an athlete, you really have to take responsibility for what's going on around you because you do have a voice.
Yes.
And you have to talk to the people that's coming after you because lest they forget. and they think the playing field is level, and it's not always level.
Not always level at all. So 1976, the Olympics were in Montreal, Canada. And so in my reading, I read that this almost didn't happen because of the workers, and they had so much work to do. They said that the Queen Elizabeth and they all came towards the stadium, and they were blocked with construction debris, and people had to work 24 hours a day around the clock in order to prepare for the Olympics to even take place. I'm not sure, but did you run with Bruce Jenner? Was Bruce Jenner there?
I did. Bruce Jenner was there, and actually on the photo page of our Olympic book, he and I on the same row. He's a J and I'm an H.
Okay.
And, so we're on the same picture there. I used to use his name a lot, but then again, lately it kind of takes it in a different direction. So
direction, yeah.
I kind of use Sugar Ray Leonard now.
Sugar Ray's a good one. Sugar Ray's a good one. But the fact that, so I'm 39, and so coming up doing as a young man watching this whole Kardashian thing take off, right? I was told that Bruce was the He-Man during that time, and coming up in the DMV, it was Chocolate City, and majority black, and so we were always trained that we were better, superior athletes, and so I just couldn't see it, man. I just couldn't see that this white boy on the Wheaties box was killing everybody.
Right.
He then transitioned to something else. I mean, with your own eyes, what was that experience like?
I tell you, he was ideally built. He probably could have, in the decathlon. So you can see he's ideally built because he doesn't have a lot of weight on him, and he's tall enough. Because the events that'll kill you are the weighted bench, because it's either weighted bench, sprints, and everybody dies on the 1500. So if you can just survive that, you're okay. But see, the pole vault is that's not one of those easy events. That's very technical. So he spent time having somebody to help him with that. The long jump, anybody can long jump. It just matter how far they can go. So you're not going to get as many points. The sprints are the same way. You either got it or you don't. The hurdles take some technique. So for him, he was pretty technically proficient, for during that time. Now you see people blowing it away now, because now you're having people that they've worked on all those areas. But during that time, because most people don't realize that he also made the 72 Olympic team, and he finished in the double digits, and then came back in 76 and won the gold. That's what I thought would happen to me, because I got 5th place and I missed the bronze medal by 4 inches. And I was thinking that, I'll just come back in 1980 because I know the drills now, just do it. And they boycotted the 1980 Olympics because Russia had invaded Afghanistan. And me being in the military, I wasn't going to be able to participate anyway. So it's one of those, sometimes you never know when that's your one and only opportunity that you're going to get. But, and after that, I had to play, I had to go back to my military duties because, even though I wasn't fighting in a war somewhere, I was running a major operation.
Right. And so let's move on to your political career. And so, man, this is so much. You ran for mayor of what part of Kentucky?
It is actually Frankfort, Kentucky, which is the capital of Kentucky. A lot of people, of course, Lexington and Louisville are more well known. But Frankfort is the capital, and I actually ran for city commission first, and I was elected to 3 terms of city commissioner, and 2 of those terms I was a mayor pro tem, which just means I had the most votes of the other commissioners. Okay. And I lost my wife during the times I didn't run for 2 years, but cancer got to her. But she always said that I would, make a good mayor, and we just kind of laughed it off. And then some people actually approached me and say, we need, they were basically saying we need somebody of color, to run, because I was the first African-American to ever run for mayor in Frankfort, because it just wasn't even thought of. Even though Kentucky State is here and a historical black college, right? People just didn't move in that direction because it was very, to be quite honest, it was, white male oriented. Right. Very few ladies, and we've started to change that dynamics. and ran for mayor. And actually, in the primaries, I led, and then the general, I lost by 113 votes. COVID hit, and we couldn't have functions, which really hurt me because I'm a people person. I need to get in front of people to tell them my platform, and that didn't happen. But it was a good run. I met a lot of good people, black, white, Hispanic, because they realize that they know genuine when they see it. Yes. And actually, the guy that won, he's a nice guy. Lane Wilson. I just didn't know him beforehand, but we become good associates. I talked to the other ones on the commission. And I'm of the age. I just turned 70, and I can't believe I'm this old.
Wow,
beautiful. Yeah, I told somebody. I said, we used to talk about those old dudes. Now we are one.
Man, I pray I make it there. So I had an older brother tell me one time. He said, "Young man, go home and go to bed every night, and you'll be fine." Okay. So what was some of the impact that you had as commissioner?
Okay, as commissioner, one of the impact is trying to bridge the Kentucky State with the city. And it was taking all 6 years. As a matter of fact, just today, I just came from Kentucky State University, which is a historical Black college university. And I'm with the Kiwanis, which is another organization that's very service-oriented. And we had a tent, and we were actually signing up some people to get in a program called CKI, which they do on campus. And they do community work. And so we was able to meet. Our table was one of the most popular tables there. And then again, you have the Greeks and the sororities, the fraternities and sororities. They was recruiting people doing theirs, and they had a lot going on. But when they see, that didn't always happen. The people from the city never came up to K-State, and K-State never went down to the city. It was like two separated entities. And we've been pushing this. If we're going to really be a town that works together and grows together, everybody talks about the melting pots and trying to make sure inclusion and trying to get to the root cause of some discriminations. And now it's open up. I'm a member of a program that's called Frankfurt on Race Relations, and what they do is to say we want to talk to each other face to face, honest, and not judge. Yeah. So it's one of those that we're getting people together and talking who typically don't talk. And he said, you're going to have your points. He said, at least I can understand where that person stands. I'm going to have my points because I'm looking at it through my window. Right. And they're going to be looking at it from whatever their background is. And it's been very well accepted. I've actually spoken at a couple of predominantly white churches. And I say predominantly, I was the only Black person there. But so it was very much. But, after talking, because, they have the same Bible we have, but he said, that's our most separated day.
Yes.
And I say, for me, I can come from scriptures, I can talk, because I said, I've really been blessed. I said, I didn't get this blessing to sit on it. I've got to pass it on. And, my kids, I got 2 boys and 2 girls and 4 grandkids. And the 2 girls are both doctors, and the boys, one does heating and air conditioning at the Lexington Airport, and the other is an electrical engineer. Wow. And it's one, but, that's the good side. But I can also tell you what they had to go through. Yeah. One had depression for a while. The other one spent some time in jail. Yeah. One got pregnant early, lost a baby, But I said, these are challenges that you're going to need that spiritual strength. I say, because it's one of those, I tell my kids now, they say, well, one thing we never know, you never judged us. You told us that we'll get through this. I said, right, because life happens. I said, there's no manual that says if you do this, you get this. Yeah. There is one. The Bible will give you one, and that's the spiritual side. Well, you know that one, but you still got to make it in this physical body. Right. Go through all the things, and they've experienced, things that they were uncomfortable with.
There we go.
Race relations.
Yeah. So, who is the audience? Who is the audience for your book, What the L? And what would you like? And what would you think the takeaway should be? What did you write the takeaway to be?
Okay, I hope the takeaway will be they see a spiritual guide in my journey. yes, they'll see the Olympics, but see, not all Olympians are spiritual people.
Right.
You know, they make it just off of their talent. But look beyond that. What did they do after the Olympics? You know, the military, the same way. You know, the military has a lot of rah-rah camaraderie, the greatest thing for bringing people together. But what is spiritually, you know, what's pushing you?
Mm-hmm.
The politics. Oh, boy, what a nut to crack.
Yeah.
I had to tell people, I said, I don't consider myself a politician. I consider myself a public servant because politicians, I didn't care much for because I've seen it in my short while of how people are bought. You know, I mean, in certain things, I give you money if you'll vote for this. No, you know, I vote my mind, my heart, and what the facts show me. And I said, if all that is wrong, then you know, I'll take credit for it. So I voted for it because at the time I voted on this. This is what was happening.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the takeaway because my pastor has said that about the book. He said it says on the book that it's written for athletes, and athletes do get it a lot.
Okay.
But it's also written about everybody has a journey. Everybody. Not everybody's going to write a book because I didn't think I would write a book. Because tell you the truth, I didn't like to read or write. So, you know, so if he can write a book, then anybody can write a book because, you know, I try to make the letters, you know, big enough so that, you know, it wouldn't have to squint, you know, because, you know, it would give me a headache if I had to stare at the book. I had to put on some reading glasses. You know, I just want to read. And a whole bunch of stuff was left out. But I say, well, God knows best because I was ready to quit a lot of times because you got other things pulling at you. And then I have to keep going back to this, you know, book thing. And actually, Dr. Oliver T. Reed, you know, he kept me on track. Said, you can do this.
Okay.
He said, you're almost there. He said, you know, you need to flush out a few of the characters. He said, okay, I'll do it, but I'm ready to get this in. Then you got to go through the proofing thing. And,
yes.
you know, yeah. So it's one of those that I said, I was glad when it came out. And, and a lot of people, more people know more about me now than they did then because they can see it all in a very short period of time. Because you actually are talking about 50 years and 113 pages.
Wow. Wow.
So it covers, you know, quite a bit of time.
Yeah, my sentiments are the same when it came to writing my first book too. You definitely need a team. And an accountability partner, someone to say, you know what is this? What does it mean? And to really help you stay focused and stay towards the date that you want to finish. To spare no expense during the editing process. I learned so much about the writing process with writing my first project too. So congratulations. Where can people find the book? And is it available now? It
is available now. It's on Amazon.com, and it is, you know, What the L, Lead, Love, and Learn. Because I just found out after I wrote this, there was some other books saying What the L, but they had something different from way back. And I said, boy, I thought of it all by myself, you know, because it came to me in a dream one night, and I woke up laughing. You know, I said, why would you name a book that? You know. But the lead, love, and laugh part, because I've always been selected as a leader, and I didn't see it in myself, but I was the captain of every team I've ever been on, including the Olympic team. I mean, from high school to college to the Army to the Olympics, I was always selected the captain of the team, and beat out people like Bruce Jenner. Who were already, you know, cast as being the greatest athlete of the world, you know, shooting for it. So you know, these kind of things, I'm glad that other people saw something in me that I didn't see. I'm just going along with the program. I said, there's got to be a plan. I know I'm doing the best I can because I always said if you work hard and stay focused, you get to where you go, you know, want to go. You got to have a target. So I kept having those little targets out there. And once I stayed like in the military long enough, the target was to stay in long enough to retire. Yeah. Because when I came in, I said, that's instant money. When I'm going to go out, I want residual money that I'm going to get, you know, whether I'm in or not. So that kind of kept me there. Then you start all over looking for that next job. Like you said, what's next? And that led me to Kentucky.
So what I'm gonna do right quick is I'm gonna step off and I'm gonna bring you up, and I want you to leave your final thoughts with the listeners and give them something to walk away with.
Okay.
You know, the floor is yours.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, athletes, darn athletes, what I'd like for you to get out of this book is actually the journey. I want you to see behind the scenes of what can happen if you put your faith in something larger than yourself. It was never about me. It was about doing those things with the abilities that God gave me. First, he gave me the ability to jump. Now, I got in trouble for jumping around on furniture, but it paid off by making the Olympic team. Then I was led to go into the military just to feed the family, and that led to a retirement. And then I was fortunate enough to come to Kentucky in education, and it led me into politics, which I never in my wildest dreams or nightmares thought that would happen. But you do the best with what you have. Everybody has a gift. Some have several. It's time to use those gifts. If you're feeling real froggy, go on and write you a book and tell everybody about it. God bless you all. Y'all have a great one.
Once again, y'all are now listening to the Root Cause Podcast. Brother Haynes, you hang tight. Y'all are now listening to the Root Cause Podcast, where we like to talk everything relationship and have the hard conversations. Today, y'all got a masterclass on the 1976 Olympics, what it was like going through it, what it was like coming out of it, being a black man coming from Kentucky in a leadership position. You can't beat it. I'm honored to have Mr. Tommy Haynes on today, and I will invite him back. Mr. Haynes, I appreciate you, my good brother. You hang tight. Y'all are now listening to the Root Cause Podcast. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks a lot, Frankie.
You're welcome.